viewers, SP Gubi online classes for mathematics and science for Ncert 10th standard and Cbse 10th standard. So in the previous session of mathematics in quadratic equations, we were solving some criterias. We had some criterias. We were converting them into quadratic equations. So 4 problems on that process we have done, and the remaining 4 problems we had done it on convert the given equation into a quadratic equation. So overall some 8 problems were covered in the last session. So in this session we will be going with the methods of solving quadratic equations. So here the main contribution for the method of solving quadratic equation goes to the ancient Indian mathematicians. So one is Sridharacharya. We have to remember his name at this particular point because he has taught us how to solve quadratic equations on the basis of the method of completing the square. And Brahmagupta, so he found out the length of certain lines where it is nothing but the solutions of the quadratic equations. What we are going to do in today's class, that is by the method of factorization. So we should remember Brahmagupta and Sridharacharya at this moment, but it is known that the Babylonians were the first to solve quadratic equations, right? So with this information we will enter into today's session. So there are 4 methods of solving a given quadratic equation. So we know that there are 3 types of quadratic equations. One is which is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where you call it as an unaffected quadratic equation because the variable x or y, any variable, exists in the degree 2 as well as in degree 1. Therefore it is called an unaffected quadratic equation. And another one is we have a pure quadratic equation where the variable in the quadratic equation is going to exist in degree 2 only. So therefore it is a pure quadratic equation. Its general form is ax square plus c is equal to 0, where bx will be equal to 0 there. So another one is the ax square plus bx is equal to 0, where we do not have any name for that, but the method of solving the particular quadratic equation is by taking common, and when we solve that quadratic equation, compulsory among the 2 roots what we get, one of the root will be 0 and another root will be a real number, right? And when we solve a pure quadratic equation, we are going to get 2 roots where both the roots will be equal but opposite in sign. But when we solve a affected quadratic equation which is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we are not sure what type of roots we are going to get. We may get all type of roots, but 2 roots we will get, but we do not know what type of roots we are going to get. So in the further classes or sessions, we will be discussing on a concept called discriminant, where the coefficients of the quadratic equation is going to decide the nature of the roots of the quadratic equation. We can make out the nature of the roots of the quadratic equation without finding the roots of the quadratic equation. That's the concept which we will be discussing in the coming sessions, right? So in this session I will tell you the methods, how many methods are there for solving a quadratic equation. So usually the 4 very simple method where you have already studied regarding this type, that is called sum and product method, or by the method of factorization. So by factorization. So this is the method of solving a quadratic equation. So this particular factorization method or sum and product method is a very limited method because this method cannot be applied for all the quadratic equation to get the roots. It's not possible. So a very stipulated or very less number of quadratic equations can be solved by using this method, that is factorization. So secondly we come across the formula method. By using formula, so we will be having I'm going to derive you a formula to find out the roots of a quadratic equation, so which is derived on the basis of Sridhara's method, that is by the method of completing the square. I am going to derive the formula for you, but the derivation is not asked in your examination, but we will know how the formula comes, we will solve problems on it. So this method is said to be called as the universal method of solving quadratic equation. So if you put any quadratic equation into this formula, you are going to get back two roots, any quadratic equation. So those quadratic equations which cannot be solved, where we cannot find out the roots of the quadratic equation by factorization method, those quadratic equations we can get the roots by using this formula method, right? So third one is by method of completing the square. By the method of completing the square. So you will be given a quadratic equation where you are going to you have to find out the roots of the quadratic equation. So in that we are going to split the quadratic equation into two parts, where LHS will be made a perfect square. Then by taking square root on both sides, we are going to get the roots of the quadratic equation, that is by the squaring method, that is by the method of completing the square. So in other words, this method of completing the square is also called as the Sridhara's method, very important Indian mathematician, right? So the fourth method is graphical method. That is graphical method. So as I told you earlier, when we solve a quadratic equation graphically, we are going to get a parabolic curve. So using that parabolic curve, we find the roots of the quadratic equation. So just by we make the parabola to cut the x-axis at certain 2 points. So the parabola where it cuts the x-axis at 2 points is to be considered as the roots of the quadratic equation. But unfortunately, this method is not in your textbook. So in the previous year's syllabus, we had this graphical method and it was being asked for 4 marks in the examination. But now they have removed that. That is in the Ncert syllabus, we don't have this. By the method of computing the square, unfortunately again in this at this particular time of COVID-19, according to the revised syllabus, the method of computing the square is skipped or it is deleted. So only you have left over with two methods. One is factorization, another is formula method. So plenty of problems are there, lot of problems are there. So this particular chapter, when you look at the point of examination, so this is a very important chapter, because for 3 marks, one statement problem you are going to get 100% in that. But more than this, in your future competitive examinations, for the preparation of some IAS examinations or JEE examinations, CET examinations, so maximum utilization of these two methods, you can find it out in the further studies. So please concentrate on these two methods. One is the factorization method, another is by formula method. So these two I am not going to present, because this is not in the textbook, and this is now at this present situation it is removed from the textbook, that is from the syllabus. It's not for 2021 examinations, right? So now today we will be going with by the method of factorization. We are going to solve some very important problems. So some problems will be given to you as a homework. We will start this session, right? Find the roots of the equation by factorization. Find the roots of the equation by factorization. So here you have to be very particular with the question here, because as there are two methods which are discussed in your textbook regarding the finding the roots, that is solve or find the roots of the given quadratic equation. So you have to particularly see by which method they are asking you to do it. So if they are asking by the method of factorization, you have to do that in that method. If they are asking you to find the roots of the quadratic equation by using formula, then you have to do that method itself, right? So somehow I can get the roots, somehow say either by doing factorization method or by the formula method we get the same roots. So what is there in that? So don't be in such thinking. Whatever the method he asks you, you please follow that method. So let us go with the first problem. So it is 2x square minus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. This is one of the first problem. Let us get into the, write the second problem also. Write x square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Right. So these type of problems earlier you have done it in your 8th standard class. Maybe in algebra it was the second or third chapter, I hope. So solve the given quadratic equations or factorize the given equation, something it was, factorize the following algebraic expressions. Some questions were there, but here the same expressions as it is equated to 0, now in this section they have become equations. So therefore we can particularly call them quadratic equations. So here we have to find the roots of this equation by the method of factorization. So let us get into that. You have to practice this because in the next session when I solve statement problems, so the statement gets converted into an equation. That equation on solving continuously you are going to reach a quadratic equation, and that quadratic equation has to be solved by the method of factorization to reach the roots. So therefore this is very important. So let us write down the equation. 2x square minus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0. So in the first step, what is to be done? You have to look at the equation whether the given equation is in the standard form or not. So according to the characteristics of a quadratic equation, the terms in the quadratic equation where the powers of the variables has to be written in the descending order. So here it is x square, it is x and the constant. So it is in the descending order. It is in the standard form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. It is in the standard form. So now the problem is eligible for the further steps, right? So now select these two extremes, that is 2x square and plus 3. It is plus 2x square and plus 3. Multiply these two. I hope you are getting that. You had done it earlier in your previous classes like this. 2x square into 3, that becomes 6x square. 2 into 3 is 6, x square remains. So you have to split this 6x square into two terms such that the sum of these two terms should be equal to minus 5x, and the product of these two terms, when you multiply that, that is you should get plus 6x square. So you have to search for those two terms, right? So by inspection we have to do it. We have to select two terms, check it. If not, we have to select another two terms, check it. So this undergoes through inspection, right? That's an art. Once you start doing these type of problems continuously, if you solve more number of problems like this, you will be a master in that, right? So now product should be plus 6x square. Product of these two terms should be plus 6x square, and when you add these two terms with sign, you should get minus 5x, which is the middle term. So we can select this, we can take it as minus 6x and plus 1x. I hope this is not possible because minus 6x plus 1x is minus 5x, it's okay, but minus into plus you should get minus here, so therefore it is not possible. See, this is how you have to check, this is how you have to inspect, right? Okay, let us take another two. Let us take minus 3x and minus 2x. Let us check it out. Minus 3x plus minus 2x is minus 5x. Okay, we are getting that. Minus into minus is plus. 3 2s are 6. X into x, x square. Yes, the things are getting settled. Right. So now write this first term again, 2x square, and instead of minus 5x, you have to substitute these two terms. That is minus 3x and minus 2x. And write the remaining term, that is plus 3, and equate that to 0. So now in this quadratic equation we had 3 terms, but now we are having 4 terms here. So now out of these 4, combine these two and these two and take out common term. Take out common in that. So now we have x square, we can take common. Here we have 2, but 3 is not a multiple of 2. We have 3 here, but 2 is not a multiple of 3, so therefore 2 and 3 cannot be taken as common, and the HCF of 2 and 3 is 1, so therefore taking 1 as the HCF, 1 as the common is meaningless, that remains the same thing. So therefore take x as the common. So when you take x as the common, so you are left with 2x, that is x into 2x is 2x square, that is minus, and we can write 3. So x into 2x is 2x square, x into minus 3 is minus 3x. So successfully we have taken the common, and now we will go here. So what the binomial you get inside the bracket, we should get the same thing here in such a way that you should take common here, right? So now here we have plus 2x, we have minus 2x, so therefore take minus 1 as common. So when we take minus 1 as common, we are left with 2x, that is minus 1 into plus 2x is minus 2x, and minus 1 into minus 3 is plus 3, which is equal to 0. Once again, minus 1 into plus 2x is minus 2x, minus 1 into minus 3 is plus 3. So now we had 4 terms, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, but now we have 1 and 2, only 2 terms. So out of these 2 terms we should take common again. So that is, in this term we have 2x minus 3, and this term we have 2x minus 3. So take 2x minus 3 as common. So now, apart from this, what is left here? X, write x. Apart from this, what is left here? It is minus 1. So write minus 1 is equal to 0. Right? I hope you are getting this. Did you understand? Anyway, so here, what is this here? Out of 2 terms, now it has become a single term. It's a single term. Product of any 2 terms is a single term. We know basically. So this into this is equal to 0. For example, consider this as m and consider this as n. So here m into n has become equal to 0. So if m into n is equal to 0, then either m should be equal to 0 or n should be equal to 0 or both should be equal to 0. That's the logic. 0 into n is 0, m into 0 is 0, 0 into 0 is 0. So therefore, on this context, on this logic, we are going to equate 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, and x minus 1 is equal to 0. That is, this into this is equal to 0. So therefore, this should be equal to 0 that I have mentioned here, or this should be equal to 0 that I have mentioned here. Right? So now, equate this, solve this. So 2x is equal to minus 3 goes to RHS, it becomes 3. So x is equal to 3 by 2, it's one of the root we have got. And x minus 1 is equal to 0. Transpose this minus 1 to RHS, so x is equal to 1. So this is another root. So which are the 2 roots of 2x square minus 5x plus 3 is equal to 0? There are 2 roots. One is x is equal to 3 by 2 and x is equal to 1. So if you observe the roots, they are rational roots. The roots are rational. They are real and rational. Just I'm telling you to observe it, that's all. So what is the meaning behind my words, that I will discuss in the next sessions. Just now observe it, that's all. So the 3 by 2 is a real number, 1 is a real number. So they are real and rational roots. Right? Okay. Now, in this process, no steps should be skipped. The same method what I have done here should be compulsory followed. This is very, very important. Done? Okay. Let us get into the second quadratic equation. So where it is to be solved by the method of factorization. So here roots, just I want one of the student yesterday, she had called me and asked me, sir, why they are called roots of a quadratic equation? That's a very nice question. So here 3 by 2 is the root of this and 1 is the root of this. So why they are called roots? Because if you substitute 3 by 2, that is if you take 3 by 2, x is equal to 3 by 2, and substitute in this quadratic equation wherever the x appears and simplify this, this entire LHS will become equal to RHS. That is, this LHS will be equal to 0. Again, instead of this, if you take x is equal to 1, substitute here and simplify this, then LHS will be equal to RHS, that is, it will be equal to 0. For example, I will substitute 1. 2 into 1 square is 2. 5 into 1 is 5. 2 minus 5 and plus 3. So what is 2 minus 5? It is minus 3. minus 3 plus 3 gets cancelled and it is equal to 0. So these are the only two values for this quadratic equation to satisfy that, or to make the equation true. If this equation has to be equal to 0, then the value of x should be either 3 by 2 or the value of x should be equal to 1. Apart from these two values, no other value for x can satisfy this equation. So therefore they are called the roots of this equation. I hope you got it. But I forgot the name of the girl, she called me. So therefore they are called as the roots of the equation. Right. So we'll get to the second one. So x square minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. Right. So first we have to check it whether the given equation is in the standard form or not, or the terms in the decreasing order, in the sense the variables are in the decreasing order, right? So it's ready. That is, multiply the last two terms. So x square into minus 10 is minus 10x square. You have to split this in such a way that the sum of these two numbers should get minus 3x and the product should get minus 10x square. So best is minus 5x and plus 2x. I hope this is the best. Minus 5x plus 2x is minus 3x. Minus into plus is minus. 5 2s are 10. X into x is x square. So instead of minus 3x, I can substitute minus 5x plus 2x. So x square minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 is equal to 0. So out of these two and these two, we have to take out common. We have to be very careful. So we have x square, we have x. You can take x as common, so we are left over with again another x. X into x is x square minus 5. X into x is x square, x into minus 5 is minus 5x, plus here we can take 2 as common because 10 is a multiple of 2. We can take 2 as common here. So 2 into x is 2x minus 2. How many times is 10? That is 5. So 2 into minus 5 is minus 10, which is equal to 0. So what you get in the bracket, the same you should get here. That is how you have to manage and take out common. So now, out of these two terms, we can take x minus 5 as common. So x minus 5 into, here x remains and here plus 2 remains, is equal to 0. The same logic applies. M into n is equal to 0. Therefore m is equal to 0 or n is equal to 0. So x minus 5 is equal to 0. And x plus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore x is equal to 5 or x is equal to minus 2. So these are the two roots. So if you substitute 5 or minus 2 in this quadratic equation, this quadratic equation will become equal to 0. So therefore they are called as the roots of that quadratic equation. Right? Okay. X square plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. And second one, root 2x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. So two problems I have taken. Very important, it will be asked for 2 marks in your examination. Find the roots of the equation by factorization. Right? So check out whether the given quadratic equation is in the standard form and the variables with the highest power, then the lowest, then the constant. So the decreasing order. So it is right. 2x square plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So multiply the extremes. 2x square into minus 6 is minus 12x square. You have to split this into two terms in such a way that the sum of these two terms should give you plus 1x. Nothing is there is, if nothing is the coefficient of x, then it is understood it is 1. Then the product of these two terms should give you minus 12x square. So let us search for it. So maybe 4x, 3x, 4x plus 3x is plus 1x, it's not possible. So therefore put plus 4x and minus 3x. I hope you can adjust the signs. Plus 4x minus 3x is plus 1x, and plus into minus is minus. 4 3s are 12, x into x is x square. Right? Okay. 2x square plus, instead of plus 1x I am going to write these two terms, plus 4x minus 3x minus 6 is equal to 0. This and this, out of 4 terms you have to make a group of 2 and 2 terms. So it's not compulsory that you should make first 2 and last 2. You can interchange this also if you want. This plus 4x here and minus 3x here, you can interchange and also you can do it. That's your adjustment. Okay, you can take common here. 2 is there, 4 is the multiple of 2, x is here, x square is here, so you can take 2x as common. So 2x into x plus maybe 2, right? Okay, 2x into x is 2x square, 2x into 2 is 4x. Okay, 3x has minus sign, 6 has minus sign, 3 is here and 6 is the multiple of 3, so therefore you can take minus and 3 as common. If you take minus and 3 as common, you are left with x, minus 3 into x is minus 3x, minus into what gives you minus 6, so it is plus 2. So minus 3 into plus 2 is minus 6, which is equal to 0, equate that. So now, out of these two terms, see what you get as common. So you can get x plus 2 as common here. So if you take x plus 2 as common, we are left with 2x minus 3. So write it inside brackets. Is equal to 0. Okay. So this into this is equal to 0. So therefore x plus 2 is equal to 0, or 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus 2 and 2x is equal to minus 3 transposes, that is plus 3. So x is equal to 3 by 2. So these are the two roots of this quadratic equation. So at the bottom right, the two roots are, or the roots of the equation are minus 2 and 3 by 2. Don't write or. As I asked you roots, therefore write and. Okay, let us get into the, maybe this is the fourth problem. Alright, so it looks somewhat different from all the other problems because we have some irrational numbers. So don't worry. Check out whether it's in the standard form or not. Yes, x square, x to the power 1, it is in the standard form, right? So root 2x square plus 7x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. So multiply the extremes. So it is understood that x square is not inside root 2. That is, x square is not inside the root symbol, right? It's outside. So root 2x square into 5 root 2. Root 2x square into 5 root 2. So here, when we multiply two surds, or two irrational numbers, rational number gets multiplied with rational number and irrational number gets multiplied with irrational number, right? Please remember this. So x square into 5 is 5x square into root 2 into root 2. So root 2 into root 2 becomes root 2 whole square. So that is 5x square into square and root cancels. So we are left with 2. 5x square into 2 is 10x square. You have to split this 10x square into two numbers such that the sum should be equal to 7x and the product should be equal to 10x square. Right? Okay. 10 can be got by 2 into 5 or 5 into 2. That's the only option. Or 10 into 1. Also we can get it. Right? Let us try out 5x. 5x and 2x. Then we will adjust the sign. Plus 7x you should get when you add it. So therefore it should be plus 5x and plus 2x. Plus into plus, plus 5 2s are 10, x into x square. Yes, it matches. Okay. So be careful here. Root 2x square plus, instead of 7x I am going to write plus 5x plus 2x plus 5 root 2 is equal to 0. So now this one and this one will take out common. So here root 2 is there, root 5 is there, 5 is there. So it's an irrational number, it's a rational number. You cannot take any common here, so just we are left over with x. So take x as common. So x into root 2 x plus 5. So So x into root 2x is root 2x square plus x into 5 is 5x plus. Now here we don't have x to take out as common, or we have 2 here, but we have 5 root 2 here. So we should take root 2 as common. So this is the method of taking it. So please look carefully. Take root 2 as common. When you take root 2 as common, root 2 into what gives you 2x? It is root 2x. It is root 2x, because root 2 into root 2. Root 2 into root 2 becomes root 2 whole square, and square root cancels and 2 remains. So 2 is there and x continues. So root 2 into root 2x is 2x plus, as root 2 is taken as common, only 5 is left here. So we take 5, write 5 and equate that to 0. So be very careful here. So out of these two terms we have root 2x plus 5 as common, and left over is x plus root 2. X plus root 2 is equal to 0. So m into n is equal to 0. Therefore either m should be equal to 0 or m should be equal to 0. So therefore root 2x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x plus root 2 is equal to 0. So root 2x is equal to minus 5. So x is equal to minus 5 by root 2. This is one of the root, or okay, and x plus root 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to minus root 2. So these are the two roots. So if you observe the roots here, both are irrational. They are real and irrational. So it's a real number but an irrational number. This is a real number but also an irrational number. So for a quadratic equation you can get any type of roots, real and rational, real and irrational. For some quadratic equations you may get equal roots also, right? So please do it as a homework. So another problem I am going to show you how it comes. So a little bit different. So 2x square minus x plus 1 by 8 is equal to 0. So if this is the situation, because the constant is in the form of p by q here, particularly it is in the form of p by q where denominator is not 1. So therefore it is 1 by 8. Okay, no problem. So 2x square minus x plus 1 by 8 is equal to 0. So take LCM, that's all. Very simple. Take LCM. So for 1, 1 and 8, LCM is 8. 2x square by 1 into 8 is 8. 2s are 16x square. Minus x by 1 into 8 is minus 8x. Plus 1 by 8 into 8 is 8. 8 cancels. We are left with 1, which is equal to 0. So 16x square minus 8x plus 1 is equal to by 1. So 16x square minus 8x plus 1 into 1 is the same thing. So 8 into 0 is 0. So we are left over with this. So we will carry this. So 16x square into 1 is 16x square. 16x square, you have to split this into two numbers such that the sum should be minus 8x. it should be minus 8x. Okay, right? So which are the best two terms? You can try out. 4 4s are 16, you can try out. 8 2s are 16, you can try out. Better is 4 4s are 4x. 4x, you have got minus 8x should be the answer, so therefore minus 4x, and minus 4x is minus 8x. Minus into minus is plus. 4 into 4 is 16, x into x is x square. Right. So instead of minus 8x, I am going to substitute minus 4x and minus 4x. So 16x square minus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. So out of this and this we have to take out common. So here I can take 4 because 16 is the multiple there. Here we have x and x square is there. So 4x I can take it as common. So 4x into 4x is 16x square minus 1. 4x into 4x is 16x square. 4x into minus 1 is minus 4x. So we are left with minus 4x plus 1. So nothing I can take out common. So in that situation, take 1 as common. Right? So minus 1 into 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. Check out once again. Minus 1 into 4x is minus 4x. Minus into minus is plus. 1 into 1 is 1. So out of these two terms, I can take 4x minus 1 as common. So 4x minus 1 into left over is 4x minus 1 again. 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. So m into n is equal to 0. So therefore 4x minus 1 is equal to 0 and 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. So 4x is equal to 1, x is equal to 1 by 4 and 4x is equal to 1. So x is equal to 1 by 4. So here you can see two equal roots with same sign. Two equal roots with same sign. So if you solve a quadratic equation and if you get two roots which are equal with the same sign, then that particular quadratic equation will be a perfect square. So here 16x square minus 8x plus 1 is a perfect square. 100% it is a perfect square. Done? Right. So please do these three problems in your classwork book as a homework and send it to me through WhatsApp. Most of the students are not sending me the homework, right? I give them the homework. Very few, some 10 to 15 students respond to the homework and they are up to date. Most of the students are taking this particular situation very easily. So they are thinking, let whatever comes, I will see when it comes. See, you are in the decision will make you pay the tax at the end. Don't do it. You are free now. You have a lot of time. Very simple classes are going on. We are not doing classes for hours together. Just 1 hour or 1.5 hours, including maths and science, we are doing it. Still you are not able to, you are not willing to see that, you will be in a big problem. Please take my words. Don't ignore the words what I am telling you. Right? We have seen life more than you. We have seen thousands of students like you. Please ignore, don't ignore. If you ignore, you will be in a big problem. So these are my sincere, humble words for you. Please follow the teacher. Okay, so I would like to conclude the session. So in tomorrow's session, I will be going with the statement problems on factorization of quadratic equations. So in exercise 10.2, please listen. Please be ready with the third problem, fourth, fifth and sixth problem. So they are statement problems. So please write the question and be ready. So I will be going with only the solutions, because writing the questions on board, statement problems on board and solving it, it takes a lot of time. Maximum time will be waste for that. So therefore this is my sincere request. Please write the problems and be ready. For example, first question is, find two numbers whose sum is 27 and product is 182. Write the question, be ready, leave a blank there of half a page. I will solve it. You please note it down. So there we'll be going with 4 problems tomorrow, maybe 4 or 5. We'll be going with that. So please be ready with that. So please sit and study. Don't waste your time. God has given you a lot of time now. You are totally free, no responsibilities, nothing. Just sit and studying, that's all. Please do it for your welfare, for your well-being, for your future to be good. I am telling these words. Please follow the teacher. Take whatever I give you in the classroom. So as the chemical equations and reactions, the particular chapter is deleted from your syllabus, I am discontinuing in that chapter because already one video was uploaded on that. So very fast I will be going with acids and bases, the second chapter, along with the sources of energy in physics, right? So until that, stay home, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you.